All right, welcome back, chiropractors. So we're still talking about practice growth. So we've had quite a few videos about practice growth now. We've covered a little bit of sales and marketing. We've covered some patient retention and some operational things, some mindset things. What is the correct mindset of someone who has the ability to grow a $6 million practice, 1,000 patient visits a week, 98%, or excuse me, 99+% success rate, less than 3% dropout, long-term patient care. Those are the goals, right? That's what I've done over and over again. And so today we're going to talk about something that's not directly related to patient care, but what it does is it facilitates your ability to treat more patients, right? It facilitates your ability to get in more patients, treat more patients, help more people, okay? And so what we're going to talk about is finances, all right? So as you've heard me say, if you've seen my other videos many times, many chiropractors are piggybacking their knowledge off of the past generations of chiropractors, right? What has worked for them, right? Well, we have to look at that in context, right? So in context, a big practice for chiropractic is $1 million a year, right? That's considered a big practice. However, I've run $6 million a year practices, right? And that's like nation beater size, right? 0.1% top single location clinics in the nation, okay? So what does it take to do that? How do you get a big practice? How do you even get a $3 million practice, right? More manageable, easier, smaller, right? How do you do that? Well, one of the key things that you do in practice growth is you manage your money well, right? So I'm going to give you some principles. And once again, I always say this, like I'm giving you like little nuggets basically, right? Obviously we have a huge training program, not huge. It's compact versus, the 40,000 hours that I've spent doing this. But it's longer than a 30-minute podcast, right? So we have a very thorough, that's a better word, very thorough training program that you can go through in order to get all the details, all minutia. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. This is how you should think. This is what you need to do. This is what you do for sales and marketing, full training cycle. This is what you do for operations, full training cycle. This is what you do for finance and billing, full training cycle, right? Plus for all your staff at the same time, plus ongoing, right? So you can do that. So just know though that this is tidbits, right? This is just like little nuggets out of that, okay? So when it comes to finances, most people think of finances in the form of, I have a budget, okay? I don't like that word. Do you need a budget? Yes. I hate the word budget because it comes from a mindset that there's not enough, right? Whenever you sit down to talk about a budget, it's like, well, we need to pinch pennies, well, we whatever, okay? So I don't necessarily like the word budget, but I like the word production, right? Because if you have really great production and good margin, you don't ever have to worry about a budget, right? But I like the word production, but in the context of managing your money properly in your chiropractic clinic, know this, and this is probably the biggest nugget that I can give you without like a deep explanation of it. You should be looking for and digging for and getting lean for and creating opportunities for every single extra dollar that you can get to put into acquisition of new patients, okay? And so what do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of clinic owners, and trust me, I've talked to hundreds of them, who whenever they get an extra dollar, they do one of three things with it. One of three things, excuse me. They pay themselves more, they hire another body, or they buy a new piece of equipment. All right. I'm not saying any of those things are bad, but those are secondary priorities to acquiring more patients, okay? So this is how the wealthy get wealthy, all right? So when you're looking at your practice's expenses, right? What you need to do in order to track them long-term is you're not looking at dollars and cents, right? Dollars and cents are a component of it, but what you're looking at is breaking it down into individual segments of types of spend and what percentage of revenue that is. That's how you track a budget when it comes to running a chiropractic clinic, okay? It's not about we spent $500 this month, $750 next month, $750 is a lot. Because $750 might not be a lot if you brought in, $5,000 first month and $10,000 next month, right? Then your percentage of revenue actually went down. And so you've gotten leaner, okay? So what I'm doing when I'm trying to explosively grow chiropractic clinics, and I've grown clinics from 700,000 to 5 million or more in under a year. And I've grown them from 1 million to 7 million or more in a year, what I'm doing is I'm combining all these principles, right, to make it a growth machine, right? I want it to primarily grow as the first objective, and then I'm building all the supporting structure behind it, okay? So part of that is I'm looking everywhere I can for spare dollars, okay? So that means my salary, that means not overspending on equipment, not overspending on product, not overspending on just like nonsense stuff, right? That doesn't actually produce growth, right? I'm not overspending on that. I'm looking for where I can cut some of that out. And then I'm taking all of those dollars and I'm putting all of them into marketing. Every cent of additional money goes into sales and marketing. Every cent, okay? Because what happens is chiropractors start to get like a little bit successful and they start paying themselves more, or they hire someone to make their life less stressful, or they buy a new fancy piece of equipment. Well, the thing is like you're living high on the hog now when you could be living literally as king of the hill in under a year if you do the right steps, okay? So it's like you can be a hog at like the first plateau of Everest, right? Like the first base camp of Everest, or you can be at the top of Everest in a year. You have to make a decision, right? So delayed gratification, like you did that because you went to chiropractic college, you have delayed gratification. How you get delayed gratification fiscally is you take every spare dollar that you can and you're looking for additional dollars so you can cut down expense and put it on marketing. And you're taking every dollar you can and you're putting it into marketing and sales efforts, right? Because that's what feeds the growth engine, right? That's the fuel of the growth engine. It starts at dollars and cents. When you don't have dollars and cents, it's your time, right? But when you have dollars and cents, you're taking dollars and cents, leveraging it into people and services to grow your bottom line, right? If you want to know where to leverage that, there is a video on that. You just need to go on my page and you can find it. What works, what doesn't work, etc. But the goal here is to find every spare dollar and put it in sales and marketing, right? And when you do that, what will happen is you'll get compound growth. It'll grow so fast, like you won't believe your eyes. And so let me give you an example. So if I walk into like any one of your clinics, right? And let's say you're an average clinic, you're doing 200 PVs, right? You're doing 200 PVs, your dollar visit average, you're getting paid $40, let's say a visit, right? On average. And you see 100, let's say you see, just for easy math, 100 PVs a week, or excuse me, 200 PVs a week. So $40 times 200, right? You're making $8,000 a week. That's $400,000 a year, right? So you're making 400 grand a year. That's probably the average chiropractic clinic. A big one's making $1 million, a big one, right? That under my stewardship, applying all the principles that I know, right? Including and especially this financial principle, that clinic will be doing the equivalent weekly of $3 million in 4 to 5 months if you apply these same principles, like the one I'm teaching you right now, okay? Because there's a synergistic thing that's going on, okay? It's not 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 3, all right? Part of that is being responsible with the money. What do you do with the money, right? When you have excess cash, do you just let it pile up in the bank account? No, you do not. Should you have a safety net in the bank account? Yes, you should. Do you let excess cash pile up? No, you do not. You take every cent of excess cash and you pile it into effective marketing. That's hiring effective external marketers. That's paying for digital media or digital like paid ad campaigns, right? That actually work, right? And you're taking every cent and you're just rolling it into that all year, right? All year you're doing that. So you're gonna take some extra money, you're gonna put it in there, you're gonna grow a bit. And then you're gonna take that extra money, you're gonna put it in there because now it's more, and then you're gonna grow a bit more. And then you're gonna make even more money, you're gonna take even more money, and you're gonna put that in there. Then you're gonna grow even more. And then you're just gonna keep doing that, right? And so let me kind of break down an example. Like let's say right now you have $1,000 spare a month that you can spare, right? And for those of you that don't like math, hopefully this doesn't like, I don't know. I don't think it'll confuse you, but hopefully it's not like you lose track of what's going on. Let's say you have $1,000 right now. Most chiropractic clinics have $1,000 extra every month. So let's say you have $1,000 right now, okay? Let's say you have an external marketer, right? You followed my advice, you've hired an external marketer, and they're good. And let's say it costs you $200 to acquire a closed new patient, right? Because you're keeping track of your metrics, right? So you know what this costs, right? So let's say it costs you $200. You have $1,000 extra. You're gonna take that $1,000 and you're gonna put it into marketing efforts, right? And what is that going to net you? It's going to net you 5 closed patients, right? If they're $200 to close total, 5 new patients. Let's say you have small plans, right? So let's say your plans are $3,000 a piece, okay? What is that going to net you, right? So you have 5 new patients, right? You close 80% of them, right? So you get 3 of them, and your plans are 3,000. Now you've just made 9,000, right? So from your base state, you now have $9,000 more the next month, let's just say, right? The next month, and then you take that $9,000 and you take all of it. You don't live high on the hog, right? You take all of it and you put all of that on marketing, right? Now what happens? So it costs you $200 to acquire a closed patient. You have $9,000, right? What is that? So then you get 45 new patients the next month from that spend, right? Not 5, 45. And you close 80% of those, right? So now that's 32. I think it's 32. 32. We're going to say it's 32, even if it's not. You close 32 people on $3,000 plans. Now what do you have? Well, now you have $100,000, right? 32, 30 times, 90. Yeah, almost $100,000, $96,000, right? So now you have a $96,000 pool, and you're going to live like you did when you had the 1,000, right? Minus hiring the additional necessary staff. If you don't know what that means, you don't know what priority to hire staff in, go to the Business Foundations Growth one. I will explain it. I tell you everything. No, excuse me. Go to the hiring one. It explains it all. So now you have $96,000 in 3 months. See what I'm doing? I'm leveraging cash for more cash, right? I'm leveraging excess money for more money, right? Does it create more work? Yeah, you have to hire more people, you have to train more people. But this is what a lot of you are failing to realize, because you're following the old ways. You're following the old chiropractors. I don't piggyback off of chiropractors. I piggyback off of Apple, Google, IBM, Charles Schwab, BlackRock, Vanguard. I learn what they do and then apply it to chiropractic, right? That's what I do. I'm not going down to the chiropractor down the street who's been in business for 35 years and has a $600,000 clinic being like, how'd you get there? No, I want to know how you got to 2 trillion and reverse engineer that and apply it to a practice, right? That's what I've done, right? Spent over 14,000 hours studying that. Mentorships, courses, books, everything I can get my hands on. 14,000. A bachelor's degree is 1,800 hours of seat time. So by this time I have 9 bachelor's degrees? 8 bachelor's degrees in this, right? So that's not to brag. I'm just saying, I know where to put my attention, and that's why I can have $6 million practices like this, right? Because I know where to put my attention. I know what to look at, okay? And you do too now, so don't waste your time going to the car. Who cares what they're doing? Do what the trillionaires are doing, right? So now you have $96,000. All right. So let's say that you got this 96 grand, right? You're limited by, what you will be limited by first is people and space, right? And so I want to be careful when I say people, because everybody, it seems like in the chiropractic industry, tries to throw people at problems rather than reasoning from first principles. Why does this problem exist in the first place, and what can we do with our system to improve the problem, right? To fix the problem, rather than hiring someone to fix it, okay? So once you have the 96, if you took 96,000 and you applied it to marketing at a cost of $200 per new patient acquisition, what is that? I don't know, 200, 5, that's 1,000. So 5 for every 1,000, right? 5 new patients for every 1,000, and you have 96 times that. So a lot, more than you can handle, right? And there's gonna be a saturation point to some extent, right? Based on locale and things like that, but you get the picture. This is how I was able to have 125 new patients every single month in, month out, month in, month out, in one clinic, okay? It's because I'm looking for scrap dollars that are going to BS, and I'm applying it to marketing. And then I'm really taking care of that sales and marketing team. I'm paying them well. I'm training them constantly. I'm making sure that I'm mentoring them, that I have a close connection with them, that I'm taking care of them. They're my babies is the joke, right? It's sales marketing team, that's my babies, right? Because they produce an outsized result for their efforts, okay? So you're gonna be limited by people, like I said, and you're gonna be limited by space. Well, let's say, by this point you're limited by space, you have 96,000. What should you do? right? Well, you should take, 9,000 or whatever you can handle. Like, let's say you can handle 10,000, you can handle whatever amount of patients. Say you can handle 50 new patients a month in your space, right? You're going to do reverse, do the math. You're going to take 10 grand and you're going to apply that to marketing, because that's going to develop you 50 new patients. And then you're going to take that 86,000 and you're going to stash it in your fund, right? What is that fund for? It's either for expansion or it's for a second office, okay? And you're just going to do that. And then you're going to let time go by and you're going to stash 86, stash 86, stash 86, stash 86. And then pretty soon you'll be able to buy a new office, right? And then you apply that same principle to that next office, and you can see how I can take, your $250,000, maybe $500,000 office a year that's producing whatever it is, like $8,000 a week, and turn it into producing, $100,000 a week in less than 6 months, because it's just law of leverage. I'm just leveraging cash for more cash, right? I'm not taking this cash and spending it on garbage. I'm taking this cash to create more cash, right? It's like the guy in Shark Tank. He's like, here, take my money and bring back more money babies, right? That's what I'm doing. So I'm taking cash, putting it into cash producing activities, and it's creating more cash. I'm taking that cash and putting it into cash producing activities, and it's creating more cash. How much money does a new table produce you? Not much. How much money does another front desk when you don't really need one produce you? Nothing. How much money does an associate produce you if you can handle it, right? If you can handle the volume? Not much, right? So you're looking for laws of maximums, right? And what I mean by that is there's formulas that you can run on all of your staff if you keep track of their metrics, and you are keeping track of all of their metrics, right? All of your staff have a leading, current, and trailing metric. If not, you need to get with me. And then you can figure out what their maximum productivity is, right? And once they start approaching that max, then you know when to hire. And so you're not hiring too soon. You're not blowing usable, leverageable cash on people. And you're also not, then the only thing that can limit you is space, right? Then you're just limited by space. And when you max out your space, and if you can't expand, then you start stacking cash in the bank to go buy a new space. And then you start the cycle over again. It's so stupid simple. I cannot believe that there are not more chiropractors who are like multimillionaires, and if not decamillionaires, right? If not hectamillionaires, because it's not complicated. This is not a complicated business, right? It's like, I'm gonna make sure my processes are in place. I'm gonna make sure that my sales and marketing team is trained, they're capable, they're paid well. I have the right people in the right seats. They get constant training. I'm gonna make sure my providers are trained, they're paid well so they stay, and they treat the patients the way that I want them treated per the business's brand, right? And I'm gonna manage the money in such a way that every spare dollar is getting pushed on sales and marketing. And in like 5 years, you could have 10 clinics easy that all produce $3 million, and now you have a $30 million business, right? And maybe your lifestyle didn't change a ton in those 5 years, but you went from a $500,000 business, right? Or $250,000 business to a $30 million little mini empire in 5 years by being disciplined with the money, right? So that's how it works. That's how you grow businesses. And it literally is that simple. I'll give you a real world example. So in the clinics that I run, we do medical too, right? So we'll do like conservative injections, no like corticosteroids or anything like that, PRP, things like that. So we were doing an injection, hyaluronic acid, if you know what that is. And it was costing us $20,000 a month just to keep them on the shelves. And we got a decent profit margin. I think we got $100 off of every injection, right? But I was like, $20,000, for me, that's 80 new patients a month, right? And 80 new patients at $8,000 case value is $640,000. That's a lot of cash. So I'm sitting $20,000 on the shelf to be able to make $100. And so I said, not doing that, right? That's a complete waste of money. What else can we provide? And so then we got into using prolotherapy, which costs like 10 cents, right? It's a vial. No, it's not a vial. Sorry, I'm thinking PRP. It's just basically like a dextrose solution. And it's a dextrose solution injection around a joint, right? So my provider had to be trained, right, to be able to do the injections, which cost, I think, $5,000 or $4,000, something like that. Actually, I think it was even less than that. I think it was $2,000, but I think it was about $4,000 once I paid for their flights and lodging and all that. So they had to train a provider, but then it cost me provider time plus 10 cents, right? Syringe, needle, dextrose solution. That was the ingredient. Oh, lidocaine. That was the ingredients, okay? So instead of it costing me $200 per injection to make 100, it cost me 10 cents plus provider time to make 120, right? But what did that ultimately do? It freed up 20 grand a month that was just sitting there dead until it got used, right? And then I took that 20 grand, boop, sales and marketing. What do you think happened to the clinic? It exploded, right? Why? Because I'm looking for the money. Where's the money? Where can I find more money so I can leverage that money so it can bring me more money babies, right? So it can bring me more money. Why the money though, right? People like, a lot of providers get like a little icky when I start talking about money. Money is a tool. Money is just information, right? It's a tool. It's inherently worthless, right? Except for the worth that we give it, okay? It just doesn't, there's, I think last I checked, there's something like $60 trillion in circulation in the world, right? So it's pretty much worthless. There's not 60 trillion of hardly anything. It's pretty much worthless. So I'm looking for this money so that I can make more money. Why though? So I can help more patients, because it takes money to help patients, right? Like you have to have money to open a clinic. You have to have money to pay staff. You have to have money to pay for sales and marketing so that you can expose patients to the type of care that you deliver so you can fix them. So what is the outcome of that money, right? I'm looking for money so that I can get the outcome. And the outcome is a patient that is serviced for with the optimal services for the optimal time, with the optimal retention, with the optimal dropout, for the optimal dollar, right? And then that cycle feeds itself, right? And that's how you get a big business. Is like you want to provide a good service at the right price, and you want people to keep coming back for it, right? And we're not looking for people to come back because they're back in pain. We're looking for new people to help, right? And so when I talk about money, I talk about $6 million. What that is to me is not what it is to a lot of you. Like where it's like, oh, he's greedy or he wants more money. That's not what I'm thinking of it as. I'm thinking of it as information that I can use to help more people, right? Because if I take $6 million a year and I make $2 million profit off of that, and I take that and I open 3 more clinics that now each see 600 patients a week, what has just happened? Well, I have just interrupted the traditional pain management cycle at an even higher level, right? Where people are getting the right care. They're getting the care that like isn't a pill or a drug or a needle, like as far as like corticosteroids or things like that, or surgery, right? And so I'm doing the world a good by making sure that I mind the money, right? So that's what we want. We don't mind the money. So that's like number one, rule number one. When you have excess cash, stop paying yourself. Pay yourself more in the future, okay? You need to pay yourself enough to live. And you shouldn't just be like scrapping by beans and rice, right? You've earned more than that. But you should not be paying yourself absorbently, because even $1,000, right, creates 9,000, creates 96,000, and you just live the same. And now you have 96, and you apply, like I said, 10 every month, right? 10,000 every month to marketing and sales. That way your clinic still just keeps pumping at the same volume. You're at max volume. And then you're just socking it away. And then you can take that money and open another clinic. And then you repeat the process. And now that clinic does $3 million a year. And then and now you can sock it away a lot faster, right? Because it's like out of $3 million a year, you should have $1 million profit. Say it takes $800,000 to open a clinic. That's fully furnished, fully everything, right? And so now you have 2 clinics that are giving you $1 million. So instead of just having 2 clinics, now you can open 2 more the next year. And now you have 4 clinics that give you $1 million. Well, now how many can you open? Well, now you can open 4 more. So now you have 8, and then 16, and then 32, and then 64, right? And the only cap on that is real estate availability and your ability to manage. That's it. And your ability to manage comes down to one thing: knowledge. That's it. Knowledge is what sets you free in the management world, right? That's why I could come in to your clinic and grow it to $6 million like that, right? Why? Just because I have the knowledge. That's it. I'm not any different, right? We're not any different. I just have knowledge and I apply the knowledge. That's it. So, and that's a huge reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I think that chiropractors have been shoved in this alternative medicine realm. Some of that is chiropractors' fault, because they self-identify as different. They self-identify as the alternative, right? You're not the alternative, in my opinion. Stop giving yourself that title. You are mainstream pain management, right? And you're the healthier version of it. And so all of you should have 64 clinics. All of you should be healthy, wealthy, have patients that love your practices, that get good outcomes, and just changing the world, and then merging with the mainstream medicine. But in order for chiropractic to get the respect that it deserves, to stop being considered alternative, we have to stop thinking like chiropractors and piggybacking off of old knowledge and start thinking like mainstream big business with good outcomes, right? That doesn't mean you're being a thief, right? Doesn't mean you're being unethical. With good outcomes, and expand, right? And if you do that, then chiropractors can become part of the conversation, right? And the only way to do that is to have the money. How do you get the money? Do what I just told you, right? Pretty simple. All right, that's it for today. See you next time.